with obviously both with Namco and EA as publishing partners, console gets brought up a lot, internally as well as people asking. I think if we were going to do something console related, one, I would doubt it would get done inside of Flagship. We are not a console company, and we're going to be incredibly busy with continuing content and things like that. But I think that more than any game we've ever worked on, that Hellgate is definitely could be reworked for there to be a console version, and that's really what I would want to have happen. If we delve into the console world, that we'd work with a group that is really expert at making console games, and that's what they think about. And how do we make this experience great for console players, and how do we make it a great console game? And for us, we've always that's always been the main goal. How do we make this a great game for the platform it's on? We would hope that if we ever do a console envisionment of that it's just not some straight up port. Rebalance things, change the pacing of the game, rip quests out if they don't work and don't make sense, and put new things in. It would be basically, how do we take this and how do you make a great console experience based out of that? So, it's something we'll probably keep talking about, and maybe someday we'll see that happen. But I think it'd be a lot of fun to do, and kind of, how do we bring this experience onto the consoles? Definitely areas that we want to look at as we move forward in doing the ongoing content and creating all these new things is bringing in different, maybe more classic MMO concepts. We definitely want to have, for example, raid-style content where you're getting a group of 20 or 30 or 40 people together, like things that guilds are going to go do, right, as they get built out. And going and doing that and having those big areas that they play in, bigger outdoor wilderness type settings, things like that. Things that kind of break outside of the city center, or even within the city center, having different things. And those are all things that we really look at as being like, this is going to be great continuing content stuff for subscribers. Also, there'll be things that really are kind of more MMO based that everybody will partake of. A couple great examples of that will be when we put in the auction house and email, which are kind of the top things on that group's list right now, right, is getting auction house and getting in-game email working. And that's something we want everybody to be able to use. And I think that's something that also really has very kind of particularly in MMORPGs, where you having that ability to do that. And so it really will be a combination. There'll be a lot of stuff that's there for subscribers. We want to make it really valuable for people who want to do that, to get that ongoing thing. But at the same time, it's not like we're ignoring all the people that bought the box and play for free. They will keep getting new things too that impact kind of our player base on a global level. Classes that I tend to play in the game, it's really weird. I don't have a favorite, which I actually think is good. I kind of have a favorite in each faction. The Guardian kind of became my favorite Templar to play because that's actually the character that I finished the game with front to back first time, and had this dash and bash build idea that I did where I actually put no points into sword skills. Everything went into shield. It's all about getting into combat, like getting into a group of monsters quickly. I phase them. I do a shield turn to stun them all. Then I'm hitting them. Then I have all these different shield techniques. And so it really was built around, the Guardian had this whole shield line that was really specific to the Guardian. I thought, okay, great. I want to try to make a Guardian build that's super shield heavy. And it was actually really cool. Tyler Thompson, who's our director of technology and does a lot of the skill work and everything, came in and was watching me play. And he watched me for 5 minutes and said, man, that is not how my Guardian plays. Because he was playing a Guardian too. And he's like, my Guardian is completely different, which I thought was really cool. He was much more about the taunt, anchor, like he had all these different skill sets he was using in his style of play. He's like, do you even use this skill? I'm like, no. He's like, no, I don't use anchor at all. And he's like, oh my God, that's like a core component to my style of play. In the Hunters, I'm a big sucker for pet classes, and the Engineer is the pet class between, it's kind of like, it was either going to be the Summoner or the Engineer, and there's just something about the Engineer I really like. The fact that I could be kind of like almost Pokemoning my drone and like putting stuff on him, and oh, here's a cooler item, I'm going to mod that item up, and then I put it on my guy, and I just really kind of like that idea, and having the bots hover around me, and so that's kind of my favorite Hunter class. And then The Evoker I really liked a lot with the Kabbalists, and it's because it's really different. It's a kind of a hard class to play. Definitely built around the concept of being the glass cannon. Really a very different style of thinking of how magic works. Traditionally a mage in an RPG, the higher level you get, you're getting higher versions of a spell. You're getting like, Fireball, Fireball 2, Fireball 3, or you're getting like Fireball and then Firestorm and then Meteor or whatever it is. And to do more damage, you have to get the higher level spell. But the way that it works in Hellgate is the spells for the Evoker are just how they shape the magic. And then the actual damage doing is based on the focus items that you're using. And the thing I really love about that is it gives the mage a true like item weapon game that he plays. Because usually a mage is trying to find that staff that gives them faster mana regen and a higher intelligence so they have a bigger mana pool to cast from. But their damage is all coming from the spells that they're taking. Whereas with the Evoker, I'm looking at, I like this area effect spell, and I better make sure I have a lightning one, but I want the chain lightning so I can affect multiple guys. Okay, this is going to be my spell that I use against bosses a lot because it does really good damage. And then, so I'm kind of picking my, from my grimoire that I'm going to be using, but then I really care about items that are dropping in terms of what they can do. I have, different focus items I'm wearing in different battle sets because this one is giving me pluses again with fire-based stuff. This one's giving me pluses with, toxic. And I care about actually looking at what that item drops because the damage is there too. So I kind of like the fact that it's a very, very different metagame that's involved with playing them. So I think it's good that I don't have one class. I'm like, oh man, this is it that I love. But I definitely kind of had a fallout in each of the different factions of the one that I'd like to play more.